This with it.
Okay, we're up to Kuf Yud Amid Beis, Kuf Yud Amid Beis, and we're up to Tanarabanan. Tanarabanan, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines in the bottom. Tanarabanan. Loilam Yida, all about Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. Loilam Yida Adam Be'eretz Yisrael. Afilu B'Yeshuv V'Avid Kachavim. V'Al Yida V'Chutz La'aretz Afilu B'Yeshuv V'Yisrael. You have a choice of living in Eretz Yisrael with among Goyim, or in Chutz La'aretz among Jews. Live in Eretz Yisrael with Jews, with Goyim. Shekol Hadar Be'Eretz Yisrael, Daimik Mishesh La'Elakai. If you live in Eretz Yisrael, it's like you have a God. B'Chol Hadar Chutz La'aretz Daimik Mishein La'Elakai. If you don't, Lasa is lechem es Eretz Canaan liyos lechem lelekim. To give Eretz Canaan to you, that you should be God. Not to give Eretz Canaan is very more. Add the word b'chi. B'chi kol shein udar ba'aretz ein lelekai. Someone who does not that lives in Eretz Yisrael doesn't have a God. How's that possible? I'm like, how's that possible? What does that mean? It's kind of hard to believe, right? Okay, not as bad, right? Over the Zara. The Chaim David is running away from Avshalom. You've chased me away today from clinging to the Nachal V'Kadosh Baruch Hu. To say, and go serve other gods. So you see that me Ahmed like David Lechel Elohim Acherim didn't tell David to serve other gods. David's living Eretz Yisrael. That Kol Hadar B'Chutz La'aretz Ki Lo Oived Avodas Kachavim, as if he's Oived Avodas Zarah. Rabbi Zera Havi Kim Shtamit Minei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Zera he was going ahead and he was slipping away from Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda was in Bavel. Rabbi Yehuda, as we're going to see, his shita was that you can't go back to Eretz Yisrael until Hashem tells you, let's go in. The shita of the Torah Karta, right? That you can't go back to Eretz Yisrael until Hashem wants you back. So Rabbi Zera obviously did not hold like him, and the Gemara is going to be in the Machlokes, and he slipped away because he didn't want to give a hard time. It's like you want to get stuck. The boy lemesak Eretz Yisrael. Dam Rabbi Yehuda kol oila b'mev Eretz Yisrael over basei. Anyone who's oila from Eretz Yisrael to Eretz Yisrael from Chutz La'aretz is over nasei shneimar. This pasuk is a pasuk in the Yom Chav Zayin, right? Pasuk says Bavel yuvau, they'll be brought to Bavel. The Shema you and they will be there. Again, Pakti Hashem Hashem. Until Hashem goes ahead and remembers them or redeems them. They'll be there until there. Right, and then it says that the pasuk continues. Okay, so look, this is speaking about bias, Churban bias Rishon. You go to Golis Bavel, and that's where you're going to stay until Hashem. Now, Rabbi Yehuda guys and Rav Zera, they lived after the Churban bias Sheni. They're Amoraim, right? They're Amoraim. If you look at the top Tosfos, Bavela Yavau. The Shema Yiyu Afagav the High Krab the Golas Rishon Ksiv. Even though this pasuk speaking of the Golas Rishon, they Shloimah the Golas Sheni Nami Kavet Krab. It's also mak. But in other words, once Hashem is this Gali, he leaves. And in fact, it's not so schwer because Bayis Sheni, we spoke out, guys. Bayis Sheni was not really. There was no Shina. There was no Retumim. There was no Orim. There's a Ritva in Rosh Hashanah. Ritva says. On Tisha B'Av, they would fast after Churban Bayis, even though the Beis Hamikdash was standing. The Bayis Sheni, they would fast the Bayis Rishon. Ad kedei kach. No, it illustrates the chiluk. It's in Ritva in Rosh Hashanah. But it wasn't. But on Tisha B'Av, even though there was a Mikdash, it's a chiddush nifla.
Because the Christmas was going to be Yantif only when the Guru came. They knew they didn't have Aaron.
It could be the hezbollah, but I think it seems to be that there was like we saw when we did Masechta Yuma, we spoke out the significant difference between Bayis Rishon and Bayis Sheni. It was stopgap. It was a stopgap. It wasn't built. It's very funny. Every picture we have of the Bayis Sheni is hordis, beautiful and everything, but it was nothing. Not like Hashem. And it wasn't the Bayis Rishon. Shlomo's bias was the bias. That the fire was with Shemayim. I have my sukkah that I don't get a beautiful mural of the Beis Hamikdash and the courtyard and the Kahanim and everything. You see the smoke going up. So I said to my kids this year, "What's wrong with that sign?" I said, "If anyone can guess, I'll give you $10." No one guessed. The smoke went straight up. By Sheni, the smoke didn't go straight up, and that was by Sheni. I was heard this. Anyway, so he says. So in other words,
Bavel is not particularly
not Dafka Bavel, right? Once the Geula, right? Once the Geula from the Beis Hamikdash, where the Shechina was Shaira, where the Shechina was Shara, once that's transpired, then you stayed in Golos. That was Rav Yehuda Shita, and Rav Zera stayed away from there. Now the question is, what does Rav Zera do with this pasuk? In addition, be aware, instead of mitzvahs saying, they quoted a pasuk in Yemia, guys. Right. Mitzvahs say usually quote a pasuk in the Torah. So there's divrei Kabbalah. In other words, it has a certain not mamish not say, but more maybe than the Rabbanan. Now Reb Zera, what does Reb Zera do with that pasuk? That pasuk, guys, is only going on the klisharis. It's going on the kalim that they went, the kalim that they went in that they took. So I'm back to Torah, guys. Anyway, so Zera says ahuba klisharis. That pasuk was in my klisharis. So in other words, that pasuk is going to be klisharis. So you don't have a pasuk telling me that you can't go back. The klisharis can't go back, but what? We all of us we're able to go back, right? Rabbi Yehuda. So now, if that pasuk speaking about klishares, where's Rabbi Yehuda's source, guys, for not being able to go back to Eretz Yisrael? Ksiv Krachrina. You have a pasuk, and you have three. This pasuk is repeated 3 times. Hishbati eschem benosi Yerushalayim l'shir hashirim. Hishbati eschem. I swear, benosi Yerushalayim, daughters of Yerushalayim, bitzvois or bayolos with his different deers. Right, hasadeh, and the pasuk says im teiru. If you'll be misayra, you'll be roused up. Im teiru esa ava ad shetechpatz. That's what the pasuk says. That meaning you're not supposed to go back to Eretz Yisrael. I swear to you, shouldn't go back at teiru until you be ma'ayra me. So this is the pasuk that says Hashem doesn't want you going back to Eretz Yisrael. There's a mitzvah not to go there. Right, lest Hakadosh Baruch Hu, guys. Lest Hakadosh Baruch Hu is it's Derech Agav, this pasuk, the beautiful Musaf really, from Rav Chaim Shmulevitz. I'm not sure of Chaim, I shouldn't say that. But the Rav Levi Yitzchak Mibeditchev says, Gavaldig, once in a while I do Chok Hasidus.
Could you raise it?
My son Yecheskel, lived in the Ukraine. So he went one morning, he went to Baditchev. And he was very, very early in the morning. He was the only one there. And he walked in, and to his surprise, there were two Ukrainian goyim, a girl and a boy, 2 Ukrainian. Speaks the goyim. So he can communicate with them. They don't speak English, doesn't speak Ukrainian. So he did what we do. He got his Google Translate, right? And he asked them, what are you doing here? And they told him they were married for 5 years. And their mother told him there's a saint buried over there. Right. You go over there, and the saint. And they said they wrote it. It says Rav Levi Yitzchak is, you go down. It's built above him. It's down. And they wrote a whole settle, and they showed it to him, and they threw it down. Wow. I don't know what happened. But
will tell us what happened.
Wouldn't make it up now. Okay, they had triplets. I don't know. I was like, but it was pretty cool. No, you can imagine. It was amazing. Okay, anyway, so why do I mention this? It's a person when you have his iris to do something, if you don't do anything, right, it goes. And Torah is you got to put it in a chayfetz. You got to do it. You got in an object. In other words, you want to learn, you got to go ahead. You do something. Don't just let the moment pass. If a moment is iris, you have to take it and manifest it in something that's what it's chashiv. Because if not, it's gone. Anyway, that's the pasuk. So this is we have a pasuk for Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is saying that I have another pasuk. Now, what does Rabbi Zera do with that pasuk? So Rabbi Zera disagreed. Rabbi Zera, that pasuk shlo yalu Yisrael b'chayma, that Yisrael should not go up. Rashi, guys, top Rashi. Yachad b'yad chazaka. You shouldn't go up together like to conquer Eretz Yisrael. You shouldn't go up together to conquer Eretz Yisrael. Right? Rabbi Yehuda. Where does Rabbi Yehuda know that from? Hishpati achrina ksiv. It's the second pasuk that says the same thing. Rabbi Zera. Why does he do with that extra pasuk? When we boyele l'chad Rabbi Yosef Chanina. Rabbi Yosef Chanina says, "Shalish shavuos halalulam." This pasuk Hishpati eschem benosi Yerushalayim b'tzvois bayolos and Torah appears in 3 different places in Shir Shira. The third place not exactly the same but similar. And so each one he darshans. What does he darshan? One is Achash Shalei Yalu Yisrael b'chayma. They shouldn't go up b'chayma in like strength. The Achash Sheshbiu HaKadosh Baruch Hu es Yisrael, that what Shlayim Yimridu b'umas ha'olam, they shouldn't rebel against the nations of the world. The Achash Sheshbiu HaKadosh Baruch Hu es Evikichavim, this one shul for the Goyim Shlo Yishtabu behem Yisrael Yosim Midai. They shouldn't go ahead and go over. So since he used the three Hishpati for those three things, that we should go ahead, not come up in strength, and we should go ahead and not rebel, and they shouldn't go ahead and oppress us. They don't have one of them extra to darshan what? You can't go up there to Yisrael. Rabbi Yehuda used one of them that Hashem swears that don't go, and he says no. I use it for different things, so therefore Rabbi Yisrael held you can go up there to Yisrael. Rabbi Yehuda, where does he know those limudim from, guys? Where does he know those limudim that b'choima and not rebel and not oppress us too much? It says im ta'iru v'im ta'iru. It says if you wake up or aroused, ksiv, meaning we have each one of those three you can darshan twice. You have a ta'iru and a ta'iru. So therefore he has an extra one. He darshans those three things. He darshans choima. He darshans. We should go. We should go up to. We should not be oppressed by the goyim, and that we should go ahead and we shouldn't rebel. And then we have 6. He has since in territory we have a 6, and therefore one of them he dashes for not going up there to Israel until Hashem redeems us. Reb Zera, what does he do with those 6? The Chari has 6. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't tell us what he does with the 2 extra. We have Rabbi Yehuda using 4 to 6. Guys, you have 3 Ishpatis, right? And you have Im Te'iru Tairu. So each Tairu Teiru is another. 3 times 2 is 6. So Rabbi Yehuda, we have one for Chaim, one for the Jews going ahead and not and the Goyim not oppressing us, and the Jews not going ahead and being married. Those 3 things. Now, in addition, the 4th one Rabbi Yehuda uses for that don't go up, don't come there to Israel that the Ma'ir HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Don't do it. Good. Now, Reb Zera, Aylachari has extra also. He has also the Tirum Tayru. What does he do with the extra 3? So that's what the Gemara is coming to say. Reb Zera Levi. Dama Shisha Shvuas Halalu Lama. What did the 6 Shvuas? Right. Tilsa Hani Damaron. The 3 that we said, Gerais Chaima, that we shouldn't rebel and they shouldn't oppress us. Enoch, the other 3 Shla Yigalu Esakates, that we shouldn't be Megala the Kates when the Mashiach is going to come. Shla Yirach Esakates. You shouldn't go ahead and through our Averis be Merachik or Yitchu as a case. We have another passage. You shouldn't push away the case. Rashi says Soid could either mean Soidus at time as at Tyro, or can mean the Soidus of the Iber of Levana and the Iber Hashana. Now, so therefore, bottom line is Rav Zera used it all up, and he doesn't have one of them to darshan. We should go up there to Yisrael. So that was the whole conversation. Now, since we mentioned that pasuk of Ishpati Eschem Benos Yerushalayim B'Tzivois or Bayalos, we're just going to darshan the rest of the pasuk. B'Tzivois or Bayalos Asada. This is a type of deers. Amar Rabbi Laza, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael. Imatem Mekayim Es HaShvuah Mutif. If you keep the shvuah, then great. Then lav ani materes besarchim Tzvois Kayolos Asada. I'm going to matter you like the deer that people hunt. Okay, I'm going to matter you like what? That like people hunt. Who's this? Now, okay. I'm a Rebbe Laza, says Rebbe Laza, Kol Adar Beretz Yisrael. I'm going to speak about the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael. We're going to speak about the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael. Kol Adar Beretz Yisrael, anyone who lives in Eretz Yisrael, Shoru B'lo Yoven. It's like you live without Averis. Shenema, the pasuk says, Ubal Yomer Shochin Chalisi. The neighbor of Eretz Yisrael should say, I'm sick, right? Ha'am Hayoshe Ba Nicely Oven. The nation that lives in Eretz Yisrael, they're forgiven from sins. So you see the nicely Oven, live in Eretz Yisrael, that you're forgiven from sins. Amalei Rav Ravashi. So it says Rav Rashi, I dash from the pasuk differently. I know I learned it concerning what people who are sick. They have chaloyim. That people have yisurim and sickness that they're neisei of. Not living in Eretz Yisrael, but people who have yisurim, they are what they're machapid averis. Amravanan kol hakov again. Mamish all about Eretz Yisrael, guys. Amravanan kol hakov Eretz Yisrael. Anyone's buried in Eretz Yisrael. Kilu kov tachas hamizbeach. It's like you're buried tachas hamizbeach. How do you know that? Ksiv hacham mizbeach adam atasali. It says mizbeach adam you made for me. Ksiv hasam and it says v'chipra ad masay omer. It says the and the v'chipra and the adama we mechapa for his bat for his amay. I was thinking we saw a Gemara that if you did the Chumash Rashi first week, sometimes people do Chumash Rashi. You know they can be different this year. So you may get to the pasuk that says Vayiven es hamizbeach. Vayiven es hamizbeach. No, it's by Adam Rishon. Adam was created. Right? Adam was created. Afa min ha'adama. He was created off of min ha'adama. And Rashi says min ha'adama from the pasuk where it says mizbeach adama tasali. This pasuk that Adam was created from Makam mizbeach. So Menel is geschmack, right? Adam, if you're buried in Eretz Yisrael, it's right. You're going back to your source, and it says achas mizbeach, right? It's mamish. It's if you're buried tachas hamizbeach, which would make a lot of sense because that's where we all came from in the first place. That's where we came from in the first place. Okay, now Ula Havi Rogel Havi Salik Eretz Yisrael. The Amar Ula who lived in Bavel, he used to go visit Eretz Yisrael very, very often. However, unfortunately for him, Noach Nafshei b'chutz laretz. He was nifted in chutz laretz. Asu Amalei Rebbe Lazar. They came and told Rebbe Lazar what happened to Ula. Amar Rebbe Lazar said, "Ant Ula." He was moaning at him. Ant Ula al Admas Tameya Thomas. So you're quoting a pasuk that you died. A pasuk in Amos. The pasuk says that. Ata al Adama Tameya Thomas. You died in chutz laretz and Tameya Thomas. Amuloi. They told Rebbe Lazar what happened to Ula. They told him, Aroinaba. They told Rabbi, what are you worried about Ula? His Aaron is coming. In other words, he's coming to be buried in Eretz Yisrael. Amalhem, Rabbi Lazar said to them, you can't compare someone who lives in Eretz Yisrael and dies in Eretz Yisrael to someone who dies in Chutz Laretz and is buried there. Who Gavra, there was this person, the Nafale Yavama Bechuzoi. Yavama fell to him in Bechuzoi, which is in Bavel. So he had a brother who died without children, and his Yavama lived in Chutz Laretz. So he didn't know if he should go be kind of mitzvah of Yibum and Chutz Laretz. That's what made Rav Chanina. Amalei, he said Rav Chanina mal lemeches uliyavma. Should I go there and be miyavma? So Amalei Rav Chanina said, Achiv nasa kusa yumes. Your brother married a kusis and died because she lives in Chutz Laretz. And we said anyone who lives in Marsha, anyone who lives in Eretz Yisrael is like everybody the Zara. Avad the guy, she had to be Jewish. She wasn't no Yibum, right? There's no Yibum. So anyway. So your brother married his kusis. Baruch Hamakom Shargo. Best HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed him. What a psak. Who Yerid Achrav, and now you're going to go ahead and do the same thing? I don't think so. I'm going to review Namashmuel. Kashem she'asa latzis Eretz Yisrael leBavel, just like it's asa to go leave Eretz Yisrael to go to Bavel, despite Bavel, as we're going to see, being a chashuv place, there are places that of Torah. Kach asa latzis miBavel l'shar ratzis. You can't leave Bavel for other places. What's the godless of Bavel, guys? Rashi tells us. What's the godless of Bavel? All right, says Rashi. The 3 lines down. The Yesham Yeshivos, Hamabitzis Torah Tamid. They have yeshivas that are marbitz Torah Tamid. That's Chashivas above. Remember that Torah there. That Torah is marbitz. Therefore, what? Therefore, you can't go.
It's not easy. It's not simple moving to a town. No yeshivas.
More than that, he said just to leave it. Again, they have well, you should be going to Torah, but they're heterim. But the chashivas of Bavel is because of the Torah that was there. And so it's just like it's us to leave Eretz Yisrael to go to Bavel. Kach also lets us me Bavel l'shar ratzos. It's us to leave Bavel to go to our ratzos. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yossi Damit Shavayu. I feel me pumpedisa lebeikubi. Even in Bavel itself, to go from Pumbedisa, which is a Makom Torah, to Beikubi, which is a place that had questionable lineage, it's Asa. Who did nothing? I guess it was close by. Who did nothing? There was an individual who went from Pumbedisa lebeikubi and Sham to Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef put him in Chayrim. Who did nothing from Pumbedisa l'Astanunya? They went from that place. The Shach when he died. Amar Rabbi said, "He boy had Sumer Rabbanon. If that young Talmud Chacham Abichai, if he would have left Pumbedisa, he'd still be alive." The people who are kosher in Bavel will be niklat, absorbed in Eretz Yisrael. Bavel kolton. So other they will be go ahead and they will be koilin in Bavel. However, what do you mean? What's ksher? What are we speaking about over here? What's if you say that people in Eretz Yisrael must be yuchis and Bavel's the second. And Chutz Laretz third, so therefore from Chutz Laretz we're going to Bavel go to Eretz Yisrael. V'amar kol ratzis Yisrael Eretz Yisrael. All lands are considered dough. Dough means that it's the lineage is questionable. Just like dough is mixed together, so too all the lineage is mixed together. You don't know. So any other place is dough compared to Eretz Yisrael. The Eretz Yisrael is Bavel. So the Indian lineage, Bavel was even more miyuchas than Eretz Yisrael. So it can't mean what? Mamzeris, Kahanas, So Yuchsin, I live in Bavel. What are we speaking about in Kavura? So therefore, it says Ksherim in Chutz Bavel, they'll be Zeichet to Kavura in Eretz Yisrael, and Ksherim in Chutz Laretz will be Zeichet to Kavura in Bavel, right? We'll be Zeichet to Kavura in Bavel, which is pretty impressive. Okay, look at Rashi. Elin Kavura shall Bavel Meilichin Arasein Likav Eretz Yisrael. The people in Bavel they would take their Araynas to Eretz Yisrael. The shall Shara Ratzos Harachoikim Eretz Yisrael, and the Shara Ratzos that could not make it Eretz Yisrael, the Kroy from the Bavel Kaifim b'Bavel. They marry in Bavel. Now, what's the God of Bavel? Sheyesham schus Torah. That again, you see the Bavel. This Makom Torah. You see, it's a special. We're going to see even more about it. But you see, it's unique. The Kayach Torah. How powerful it is. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Kol Adav b'Bavel, Kil Adav Eretz Yisrael. That's Rabbi Yehuda L'Shitasa, right, guys? Right? Rabbi Yehuda says you can't go up. You live in Bavel. No, it's like going up. You don't have to. Shenamar, the pasuk says, Hoyt Sion He multi Yosheves Bas Bavel. Amar Abaya Naktinu. We have Messiah Bavel Lechazi Chevli Mashiach. People in Bavel, they won't go through the Chevli Mashiach. Right? It's interesting. Bavel's Iraq. Yeah, I don't know. Tirigama Achutzel Binyamin. It doesn't mean all Bavel. It means this town of Bavel of Chutzel Binyamin. The Karle Kana this and they called it the corner of the Vitzvah, the corner of salvation. Amr Laza, Mason Sheba Chutzlaretz. Now we're speaking about Chias Mason. Mason Sheba Chutzlaretz, Mason of Chutzlaretz, right? Einam Chayim. They're not. Don't leave yet, guys. The Mason Sheba Chutzlaretz did not come back to life. Shnei the pasuk says, "Nasati tzvi be'eretz Chayim." I'll place a tzvi in the Eretz Chayim. How does this mean? What that they're going to come up? Eretz Tzivyoini ba Mesim Chayim, the land which the land which HaKadosh Baruch Hu likes very much. It's Tzivyoini of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Medel live. That's Eretz Yisrael. She'ein Tzivyoini ba Ein Mesim Chayim, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have such favor for. They're not going to. Right? The Gemara must have Rabbi Abba Bar Mamel on this halacha of Rebbe Lazar, this statement that Mesim and Chutz Laretz will not see the Chias HaMesim. The pasuk says, "Yichyu Meisecha," your Mesim they'll come to life. Ve'losi Yekumen, your corpses will come up. So, guys, what do you see? You have two sets, right? You got a set called Meisecha and a set called Neveisecha, and both are going to come up. My love, Yichyu Meisecha is Mesim Sheba Eretz Yisrael, and the Ve'losi Yekumen is Mesim Sheba Chutz Laretz. Or my Venasati Tzvi Beretz Chayim. So, what are you going to do with that pasuk? The pasuk that Rabbi Yehuda said that Dafka Eretz Tzvi, says the Gemara, and Nebuchadnezzar, that's speaking about there's a king that's going to come upon you like a tzvi, feel like a deer, and that was Nebuchadnezzar. Dam Rachmana, my sinu alayu malko de kol bitavi. I'm going to go set upon you a king who is as swift as a deer. Amalei Rebbe, Amalei. So Rabbi Lassa said to him, Rebbe, Mikra Acher Ani Dairish. He said to Rabbi Abba Bar Mamel, I have another pasuk. That Mason won't get up. What does it say? Noisein neshama la'am aleha v'ruach laholchem ba. He gives an neshama to the people of Eretz Yisrael and a ruach and a spirit to people who walk into it. Ve'ela hakasiv, which is mashma, only in Eretz Yisrael. Ve'ela hakasiv, it says neveilasi yekumin. It said yichyun meisecha and neveilasi yekumin. So you have an extra pasuk to dash and Chutz Laretz. It says who been nefalim hu dichsev. That's speaking about what that nefalim, that nefals, miscarried children will be buried in Eretz Yisrael. So that Rebbe Losa says that what only Mesim Shebe Eretz Yisrael. Abba Mamel, what does he do with the pasuk of the pasuk at Nois Neshama? Who Nois Neshama la'amal leha mayavid lei? Says mi boy leich Rebbe Vo. He needs to Rebbe Vo. Rebbe Vo. I feel the shifcha kanayna Shebe Eretz Yisrael. Even the shifcha kanayna live in Eretz Yisrael. Mutbach leishi bas olam haba. She can be sure this is bas olam haba. Sif Hachet says la'amal leha. Sif Hasim it says regarding Avram Avinu's slave Eliezer. Shvu lechem payim lechamar. You stay with the donkeys. Amadam lechamar. So we have chamar. So said so therefore that but doesn't mean that people in the Chutz Laretz will not come back. Ruach the ruach laholchem. But the pasuk says, Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Kol mahalich arba amis beretz. So anyone when folks 4 amis Eretz Yisrael, lufta gleishu ben alam haba. You can be sure that you were ben alam haba. Rebbe Lazar tzadikim sheba Chutz Laretz ein chayim. How can Rebbe Lazar possibly say, guys, you go to cemeteries, we have gedolim that are buried here. That's possible. They're not. You can tell me they're not going to come up by Chias HaMesim because it's not buried in Eretz Yisrael. Says the Gemara no. Amra Baloi Al Yidei Gilgal. You know how they're going to come? They're going to be rolling. It's Eretz Yisrael. We're going ahead and commenting now on Rabbi Lester's statement. It doesn't mean you won't get up. It means you won't get up direct. The Mason of Chutz Laretz, we all heard this. You're going to roll to Eretz Yisrael and then you're going to get up. Says the Gemara Maskif Lo Rav Abba Sala Rabba. Rav Abba Sala, the great one. Gilgal Tzadikim Sarhu. You have tzaddikim, they're going to roll through the ground. That's tzar for them. These are tzaddikim. Some Rabbi, mechilos nasos nam v'karka. Because Baruch Hu's going to take care of them. They're going to roll, but there's going to be tunnels. They're going to be tunnels. Port Authority. Right? You're gonna roll through the tunnels. You're gonna roll through the tunnels. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now, so Tzaddikim, you're telling me they're going to roll to Eretz Yisrael, right? So it says, "U'sasani b'Mitzrayim." So Yaakov tells Yosef, "Carry me out of Mitzrayim, u'kivar tani b'kfura sam, and bury me in the Maras Machpelah." Karna, we had Karna, guys. We had Karna. Karna took Shechet from two, Schabbatela. Okay, you should know that we did it less than a week ago. Okay, I remember. Karna says, "Karna." The Vorim Bagoy, these things, right? These are things that you have to the Vorim Bagoy, you have to look into them. Yodea Hoy Yaakov Avinu Shetzadik Gama. Yaakov knows he was a tzaddik. He knows he was coming up with Kisa Mason. The Mason of Bechus Laretz Chayim Lomit Shriach Esbonav. What if you're going to come alive? Why is he being matriach? What his sons to bring him to Eretz Yisrael? So the Gemara says Shema Lo Yiskel Mechilas. In other words, he knew he was a tzaddik Gama, but maybe he wouldn't be Zoichet Mechilas. He didn't want it with the tsar of being buried in Chutz Laretz.
They didn't want to make him coming.
That's that. This is the Gemara. It doesn't have to answer to Rashi quoting others, right? Understand? There is, however, but there is a Meshech Chachma. In fact, a fabulous Meshech Chachma on the Parshas Vayechi on the senior of Yaakov. Now he wants to be buried in Mitzrayim. I'll spend a minute or two on it. It's kind of an amazing thing, like one of the biggest proofs that they bring that to Judaism that we're still around. It's statistically, it makes no sense. In other words, forget about the fact that Goyim want to go ahead and kill us and wipe us out. Statistically, intermarriage, just think about Batal Baroy, right? Elif, you're being Batal in billions. I mean, how many people come down to Mitzrayim? 70 people come down to Mitzrayim. In Mitzrayim, there are millions of people. How's it possible that 70 people were not nivla in millions of people? So we know they did certain things, but I thought he came. So Yaakov Avinu did something very fantastic. Yaakov Avinu was the Av, he's the Shirish. If Yaakov would have been buried in Mitzrayim, says the Meshech Chachma, we would have thought ourselves as Jews, Egyptian Jews. We would have thought ourselves as Egyptian, but we're Jewish, but we're Egyptians. Yaakov wanted to make sure that a Jew knows no matter where you are, myself is no matter where you are, guess what? This is not thine art. This is not your place. Your place is in Eretz Yisrael. That's why Dafka went ahead and get buried in Eretz Yisrael, according to the Meshech Chachma, that it should instill in us that no matter where we are, we all know clearly that what? This is not our place. No matter how nice it is, it's not our place. You're very geschmack. Okay, the same thing with Yosef. You find the same thing by Yosef. It says, "Vayash Yosef es bnei Yisrael." Yosef, he made his brothers swear that they're going to carry on Atzim Seis out of Mitzrayim. Amar b'chanina devarim begoy. Yodei hoya Yosef ba'atzma should tzaddik. Yosef moves to tzaddik. The nation shebachutz la'aretz lama hitriach has stand up. Right, lama hitriach has achiv arba meis parsa. Right, they schlepp him all the way 400 parsa from Eretz Yisrael to Mitzrayim to Eretz Yisrael. So he said, "Shemla Yiskel Mechilas." Again, he wasn't sure he'd be safer to the tunnels to get him through. Now, Rabbi Bar Nachmani, he had brothers who lived in Eretz Yisrael. So they sent the message to Rabbi. Yaakov moves with Tzaddik Gomer, and Ilfa Moiseh Badavar, and Ilfa, the famous Ilfa. Remember Ilfa and Rabbi Yochanan, guys. They went. One was good Rosh Hashiva. Ilfa stood up on a ship. He said, "I'll dump the water." We had it twice. Ilfa Moiseh Badavar, and Ilfa ate it up. Moiseh Be'achat Shohay Mitztar Alisha Achas. There was a person. I guess he was. He loved this woman, and he wanted to marry this woman. And however, she lived in Chutz Laretz. Ubikesh Leirad, he wanted to leave Eretz Yisrael. Kiman Sheshama Kazais. Once he heard that Yaakov wanted to be buried in Eretz Yisrael, Gilgal Biatzma Ad Yaivais. The person, he held himself back, right, and he died without marrying this woman. And this is what they told Rabbi. And even though Rabbi, you're a great, right? You know, they wanted to show the Chashivas Eretz Yisrael that this person wanted to so badly to, and he really gave up the woman of his dreams and to stay in Eretz Yisrael. And now we have Rabbi saying that you can't compare the two. You can't compare what? You can't compare. So therefore, he said, listen, why don't you come up here and you'll learn. Now, what are you going to say? You're learning there. You're learning great. You have a Rebbe over here. What are you going to say? In time of Ein Lecha Rav, you don't have a Rebbe in Eretz Yisrael. Guess who? Yesh Lecha Rav. You have a Rebbe. Umanu is Rebbe Yochanan. You have the great Rebbe Yochanan, the one who wrote the Yerushalmi, the Halacha K'moiseh B'chol Makom, Machlokas Rav Rebbe Yochanan, the earliest of the Amoraim, Allah Rabbi Yochanan Rabba, you have a Rebbe here. Your Rabbi Yochanan is here. They may not toila, and if you don't go up, they give him more. Here's a b'shleish dvarim. If you don't come up, at least be careful of the following three things. Al taru b'yeshiva, don't sit too much. Yeshiva kosher l'tachtanios, because sitting too much causes a dastardly disease. I'm sorry that Doc is not here tonight, but it's a disease that Doc involves himself with. It's called hemorrhoids. Al tarbe b'amida, don't go ahead and stand too much. Shamida kosher l'leiv, it's bad for your heart. Al tarbe b'alicha, I'm machmer all these things. Al tarbe b'alicha, don't go ahead and walk too much. Right? Shalicha kosher l'einayim. Alicha is difficult for your eyes. It's difficult for your eyes. Ella, what should you do? Shloshim yeshiva, you should sit, a third of the day you should spend your time sitting, a third of the day b'amida, you should spend your time standing, and shlisha v'hilach, and a third time walking. And when you sit, kol yeshiva she'eni masmicha, let's say you have a chair without a back, a bench without a back, that's amida nochim, better to stand with the shtender. Amida salkedaitach, says the Gemara, amida kashal leiv, el yeshiva she'en basmicha, amida she'esh basmicha, right? One is speaking yeshiva that doesn't have smicha, that's not a support, but amida she'esh basmicha, that you should stand. V'chein amru, Yitzchak v'Shimon v'Ishaya amru davar echad. Yitzchak, Shimon, Ishaya, we'll meet them in a second. They all said the same thing. Halacha Rabbi Yehuda prodais. The halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda when it comes to a ferd, when it comes to a mule. The Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, pirda shetava. If you have a female mule that's in heat, Eimar v'in aleha leisus v'leichamor elamina. You guys, the shay's like this. Interesting. The kalayim. We have how do you get a mule? You crossbreed a horse and a donkey, and it creates a mule. Good. So now you want this mule. Now this mule is sterile, but the mule needs to be serviced, right? So what do? Can you give it a donkey? Can you give it a how's to stop you from crossbreeding? In other words, how do we view the mule? Do we view it like a horse or do we view it like a donkey? So there's an opinion in the Mishnayos in Kalayim. You view whatever the mother is. So if the mother was a donkey, then the mule is a donkey. If the mother was a horse, then it's a horse. Yehuda's sheet is no. A fed is a fed. A mule is a mule. In other words, I'm in Bekias, Wilbur. And so anyway, Yehuda way before your time. Way before your time or your pay grade. Trust me, Mr. Red. No, they used to put peanut butter on this. They got it to smile. They put peanut butter on. They used peanut butter. You get it to talk, right?
Was it real?
Neither was my mother the car.
Who was the voice of my mother, Clark? And Southern. Okay. Anyway. Unfortunately. Anyway. Okay. Anyway.
There's on the dish sheet now. Special edition.
Kenny's agreeing. Anyway, so Rabbi Yehuda's shita is you have to give a mule. No, you can't give it either one. And that's so they all agree that the halacha is pay the shetava, ema being alel loisus lechamar elamina. You have to give it a chamar. Now, who are these people on Rav Nachman Yitzchak? So Yitzchak is there Yitzchak Nafcha. Shimon is Shimon Pazi V'mila Reish Lakish, Shimon Lakish, and Ashai is there Ashai Barivi. I'm Rav Elazar. Okay, let's get back to Tchias HaMesim. Ami Aratzois, Amaratzim, Ein Echayim. Right, they won't come back to life. Shenemar Mesim Kol Yechyu. What does the pasuk say? Mesim Bal Yechyu. The Mesim Refoyim Bal Yakumu L'chein Pakarata. So it says that it says the Mesim they never come back. Tanyanam Yehachi Mesim Kol Yechyu. The dead they never come back to life. Yachal Kol. I might think this applies to everyone. Talmud Leimar Refoyim Bal Yakumu. The pasuk says Refoyim. What are Refoyim? Refoyim are people who are loose, weak. But marpa atzma midivrei Torah, a person who makes himself loose from divrei Torah, akasam medabes. The marpa, if you go ahead and you marpa, you're weak in the study of Torah, then you will, like an amoritz, you won't come back. Amalei Rav Yochanan, like nichel marayu the amit luchu hachi. Kodesh Baruch was not happy with this. He doesn't like this pshat. Who b'marpa atzma lebedis kechafim would have said that. One who going to come back to life is a person who.
Doesn't say, well, so you're some.
Yeah. They yes that kasha. They yes that kasha. Rabbi Chanan. What?
You gain more if you lose it.
Yeah. Again, no. I'm saying they yes the kasha. I know Rabbi Chanan. I have it. Rabbi Chanan. I didn't look it up. Amalei mikra echanani darish. There's a pasuk that I darshan. Ichsiv ki tal oiros. Right. The tal oiros talecha v'aretz refayim tapel. It says now the do is the two is tchias amesim. Right. Call mishtamish b'or Torah. And it was mishtamish b'oiros with the or of Torah. Or Torah mechayo. The or Torah will bring him back to life. Chalim mishtamish b'or Torah. Ain't no Torah mechayo. So therefore, nama oretz is not mishtamish the or Torah won't come back. Even the chazid the commistar amalei Rabbi Yochanan. So I assume Rav Elazar saw that Rabbi Yochanan was bothered by Rav Elazar's statement. Rav Elazar said to him, Rebbe, mitzasil him takonim in Torah. I found a tikkun from the Torah. Ba'ata adveikim b'Hashem alkeichem chayim k'chayon. You cling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're alive today. V'chiyash l'duka b'shchina, how can you be talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu? B'ksiv, it says, Ki Hashem alekecha eish oichla, Hashem is an eish oichla, so how can you be David to a fire? Al kolam, and mesi bito l'talmud chacham, anyone who goes ahead and marries his daughter to a talmud chacham, so that's how you get the Or Torah. Guys, the only way to get the Or Torah, but doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be done learning the Torah. So if you marry your daughter to a Talmud Chacham, you get your Or Torah that way. Rashi says, you take the money of a Talmud Chacham and you invest it for him, you take care of the investment, and you let him learn. So that's your chelik in the Or Torah. A person who is Mahana Talmid Chachamim from his Nechasim. In other words, maybe you lend them things to buy and sell. So that would be, so therefore you can be an Am Oretz in Torah and still merit Tchias HaMesim because you're involved in these things. Something similar to this. It says love Hashem and to cling to Him. Has it possible to cling to the Shechina? Anyone who goes marries daughter to a Talmud Chacham, the Torah considered it Ma'aviv Shechina. Amar Rav Chia bar Yosef, right? More about Tchias HaMesim. Asidim tzadikim shemis vatzutzim v'olim b'Yushalayim. They're going to go ahead and sprout in Yerushalayim. Shenemar v'yatzitzu me'ir ke'esev haaretz. They're going to go ahead and sprout from the city of Yerushalayim in Yerushalayim. Shenemar v'ganoisi ela ir hazois. Amar Rav Chia bar Yosef. Asidim tzadikim sheyamdu b'malbusheim. Tzadikim in the future they're going to stand up in their clothing. Kal v'chomer mechita. We have a kal v'chomer from wheat. Machita shenikra aruma. Chita is buried. It doesn't have anything on it. It's without any clothing. And the Yoitza become lavushim. It comes out with what bran all around it. Comes out what with brand all around it. Tzadikim shenikru b'rushei malachas kama v'kama. I have a little problem with this. We learned the Gemara in Brachas, guys. When we learned in Brachas, we were discussing the ruchos. They were going and they were searing around the world, and this guy he had a fight with his wife. Rosh Hashanah, he went to the cemetery and he got some good farmer's almanac advice. And they said, and he made money. And of course, he heard two ruchas talking. So one said, "Let's go take a ride." The one says, "I can't. I'm buried in machzeles. It reads, I can't get out." So we spoke out then. I don't remember from we spoke it out from. We spoke out then that the reason people get buried with tachrichin is because the linen decomposes quickly, and once the body is free of the physical barrier, it's able to go. The ruach, which is the part of the neshama that's by the gave, is able to go ahead and fly around. Good. So it's mashma that okay. So look at this thesis now with that bilbushehem, mashma bilbushehem shenikru in the clothing that they're buried. The hainu tachrichin that they're going to get up in the tachrichin, which is not like anything I said. Aval biyushalmi the hanoisei oimer the hanoisei oma Rebbe Lebanov matu b'tachrichin. Do not put on too much tachrichin. Shesidim tzadikim sheyamdu bilbushehem. Mashma matu b'tachrichim. Why? Shasidim tzadikim shelo yamdu b'tachrichim ela b'lerusheim mechayim, the clothing of their life. So in other words, you don't have to put on so much tachrichim because they're going to stand up. So in other words, is it the tachrichim they're going to stand up in, or is it going to be other clothing? But so based upon my thing that the tachrichim decomposed, like how can you stand up with the tachrichim? Okay, anyway, it's a food. It fits in with the second shot.
Because they want it's less painful, but will be quicker to decompose. Right?
Yeah. So I'm saying it's very, very interesting. Now the next piece of Gemara should not be taken very literally. This is a Gemara that you have to go into the morals and different things. They're all metaphors, but if you take it literally, it's you're going to see it's very, very strange. Okay, for example, Rav Chia bar Yosef, Asid Eretz Yisrael shetoitzei gluskois the Kli Melas. And the future Eretz Yisrael is going to go ahead and it's going to grow gluskoisa cakes and Kli Melas and great goodwill. Shenemar, Yehi Pisas Bor Ba'aretz. There'll be a Pisas, a lot of Bor Ba'aretz. Rashi brings a Pisas is Masha Pisas Yad. Guys, this is Pisas Yad. So wheat is very thin. Pisas Yad is wide. The only way wheat gets wide is when it becomes bread. So it's going to give gluskois. It's going to go ahead and the lashon of a Klei Melas is Ksonis Pasam, guys. The word Pisas is the play on words of Ksonis Pasam. Tan Rabbanan. Yehi Pisas Bar Ba'aretz. There'll be abundance of Bar Ba'aretz. Bar is food. Rosh Hashanah on the top of the mountains. Amru. I see the chita in the future. Shetisamer kidekel v'oil b'reicharim. It's going to go straight like a palm tree and go as high as the mountains. That high. The Shema Toima Yesh Tsar L'Kait. So if it's so high, the person who's going to cut it's going to have a lot of tsar. Cutting it, Tamalayim, the pasuk says, Yirash Kalvonin Peryoy. Its produce, they'll go ahead and it'll rustle in the wind like what? Like a seed, the cedars of Lebanon. Because Baruch Hu may be ruach in Beis Ganazav, because Baruch Hu is going to bring a ruach from underneath his Beis Ganazav. Uminashva Aleho Umashra Es Salsa. It's going to go ahead, blow the wheat, and it's going to cause the flour to go ahead and fall down. So it's going to be easy to process. But Adam Yaitzel Asado maybe Mali pieces. The other persons will go out to the field and they'll bring back a mamish of palm of fine flour. Mimenu Parnasasai Parnasanche base. They'll be able to support his house. The pasuk says, "Im chelev kilyoy schita," with wheat that's fat as a kidney. Where they said, "I see the chita shetei kishtei kloya shel ashar gadol." It's going to be as big as two kidneys of an ox. Your wheat's going to be as too big as the kidneys of an ox. The Alta Tama, how's that possible? Sheri Shual Kine Belefes. There once was a fox that was living in a turnip. The Shaklua, they weighed the turnip. Umatzaba Shishim liter, it weighed 60 liters. The liter shel Tzipuri, based upon its Tzipurian liter. Tanya, Omar Rabbi Yaisi, says Rabbi Yaisi, Maisa B'Shchin, the town of Shechin, Ve'echad Sheniach Le'aviv Shleisha Badei Chardal. He left him 3 stalks of mustard. V'nifshach Echad Mehem, and one of them branched off. V'nimtza by Tisha Kavim Chadal. One of them had Tisha Kavim. The eights of Sichoy by Sukkos Yotzron, and they cut the chardal, the wood part of it, and was able to go ahead and put a roof on the hut of a person who makes pots. Amrav Shimon ben Tachlifa, Kelach shel kruv haniach lanu abba. He left us a stalk of cabbage. And it was so high we needed a ladder to go up and down. Again, speaking about the produce in the future, and they're speaking about it was in those days. So we want to say that it could be Kenzain. It says, V'dam einov tishta chomer, you'll drink the blood of a grape like wine. Amru, loika oilam hazeh oilam haba. It's not the same. Oilam hazeh yesh but tsar livtzar b'lidroich yitzar. You go ahead, you're going to make wine, you have to go ahead and harvest it, and you have to go step on it. Oilam haba, maybe anava achas b'korina b'sfina. Oilam haba, you're going to bring one grape in a boat or a ship. Umaniach b'zavi is basically leave in the corner of your house. Umisapik himenu ke pitus gadol, and you'll be able to go ahead and get put like a spigot in it and draw wine from this grape, like a big kettle of Heineken. The eights of masik and tachas atafshel, and you'll have enough wood to burn. There won't be any grape that won't give out 30 saw of wine. Shnemar v'dam einov tishta chaymer. I'll read it as chaymer, but chaymer, which is 30 saw. Kiyasar of Dimi Amar Rabbi speaking about Lasalav. My dechsiv by Yehuda, it says Aisul gefen ira. He'll tie his donkey to the vine. There won't be any gefen Eretz Yisrael. Shein it tzarich ir achas livsei. One need a whole ear. One need a whole city to harvest it. And the pasuk continues with Sareka b'niyai Sinai, and the vine branch. He'll try his donkey. Ein lekol kol ilan srak shever Yisrael. There won't be any srak as a tree that doesn't bear fruit. Shein moitzi masli shtei asainas. They won't be able to go ahead and have enough fruit to go ahead and load up on 2 donkeys, even though it usually doesn't give fruit. Last love, it's going to give fruit. The Shema Taima Ein Bayaya, maybe you'll say there won't be grapes. Talmud Loimar, these grapes won't have wine. It says in the pasuk in the Brecha Yaakov to Yehuda, Kibes B'Yayin Levushai, he'll wash his clothing in wine. The Shema Taima Ein Adam, it's not white wine. Talmud Loimar, the pasuk says Uvedam Anovim, and the blood of grapes. The Shema Taima Ein Merava, maybe you'll say it doesn't have a kick to it. Maybe this doesn't work. It's grape juice. Talmud Loimar, it says Susai. Lashon Susa means Lashon of Hasasa, to incite you. Only alcohol can incite you. Shema Taima Ein Batam. Maybe you think that won't taste so good. It says, Chachili Anayim Miyoyin. Your eyes are going to be red from the wine. Kol cheich shetamu oimel lili. Anyone who says chachlili, any cheich, I'm playing words, take the word chachlili. Any cheich, any palate says lili, give me, me, give me some more. The Shema Taimar, Lina Orim Yafal is the Kenamin. Yafa, maybe that it won't be good for the old men. Hamalaima will avenge Shinayim Mechalav. I'll take Leven Shinayim Ella Leben Shanim, someone who's old. Right. Now, Pashti the crowd, what's Pashti the Pshat in the Pasuk? Not this metaphorical Pshat. What's Pshat in the Pasuk? Kiyasar of Dimi Omar, Knesset Yisrael Tnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Says Knesset Yisrael Tnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. B'nai Shalaylam. Remez be'einach divsim mechamra. Show us with your eyes that you're happy, to me that which is sweeter than wine. But achveli shinayach, show me your teeth, the basis mechalba, which is sweeter than milk. So Masailu Rabbi Yochanan, Dam Rabbi Yochanan, Toiv hamal ben shinayim lechber. Better to show your teeth to someone, to smile somebody. Yosem mashkei chalav. Better to give a person a shmeichel rather to go ahead and give him a glass of milk. Shneimar, depends if they have Oreos or not. Shneimar uleben shinayim me cholav, and his teeth will be white from milk. Al tikri leben shinayim, don't write white libun shinayim, rather a whitening of the teeth. That he should show that it shows his whitening of the teeth because he smiles. Rav Chia bar Ada Mikri Dardaki Darish. Rav Chia bar Abba was the Mikri Dardaki. He was the kiddie teacher of what of Chia bar Abba. So Ipage Tilsi Yoimei V'Layasa. So 3 days Rav Chia bar Abba did not show up. He asked when he finally did came Amalei. So Reish Lakish said to him, "Am I ifkarta? Why were you delayed?" So Amalei told him, "Dolis achas hanichli abba. My father left me what's that? A trestle? Of a vine. Ubetzati mimeno yom mishain. And the first day I picked it. Shalish meis eshkolos eshkol legarev. 300 clusters of grapes, and each cluster had a saw. Yom sheni betzati mimeno shalish meis eshkolos, also 300. But this day it only had shtei eshkolos legarev. Not 3 saw, but only 2 saw. Yom Shlishi, but Tzati Shalosh Me'eshkolis, and another 300. However, Shalosh Eshkolis Legarev only had 1 saw. So you went down progressively from 300 produced 3, 300 produced 2, 300 produced 1. The Hifkarati Yoisa Mechetzia, and I had to leave. I have to mafke hefker. I couldn't use so much. So that's why I was late. Amalei, Reish Lakish told him, Lav Hifkarta, if you hadn't gone ahead and been absent from doing what you're supposed to do, Haviyavit you would have produced even more. Because you see what happened, Hashem wasn't happy. He went from 3, 2, and 1. Rami bar Yecheskel Ikla leBeibanak. Rabbi Yecheskel came to Meibak. Chazina dat lahana izi. He saw these goats. This is the Eretz Zavas Chol Dvash. He saw these goats. The ka'ochlin tute teina. They were eating the figs. The kanativ duvasha miteina. The figs honey was dripping down. The chalava toyef minayo. And from the udders of the goats, the milk was dripping. And uma'arve b'adiyadadi, and the milk of the goat and the honey of the fig, it mixed together and it streamed down. Alma said, "This is the Eretz Yisrael. It's the land of Zavas Chol Devash." Okay. Amar Rav Yaakov ben Destoy milud lo oinoi shleishim mil. From lud to oinoi this is a 3 mil. Pamachas kidamti beneshev. Once I left early in the morning. Balachti ad karsuli b'dvash shel teinim, and I walked in fig honey up to my ankles. Amar Shlokish ledidi chazili kol zavas chol devash shel tzipuri. I saw the chol devash at town of tzipuri. Probably shitzim milin. It was 16 by 16. Mamish Rosh Hashanah. Amar a road that goes through Rosh Hashanah. Amar Rama bar Chama ledidi chazili zavas chol devash shel kol Eretz Yisrael. I saw the chol devash on Aleph Eretz Yisrael, and the havi kimei bichse at akra de tulbaki. It was like the amount that would reach from Beimichse to Tulbaki. I guess they knew the distance of these places, which is Asar v'tartan parse, 22 parsois, urcha upusya. It was 22 parses long, upusya, and its width was shisa parse. It was 6 parsois. Okay, so I guess we'll stop over here. Okay, listen. Tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow we won't be able to have a